What if the life you're living isn't really yours? You wake up, check your phone, go to work, come home, scroll a little, maybe smile once or twice, and then do it all again tomorrow. Busy, exhausted, but somehow empty. There's a voice in the back of your mind whispering, "Are you truly living?"
What if the life you're living isn't really yours? You check off your to-do list, go through the motions, but deep down there's this unsettling voice whispering, "Is this it? Is this all there is?" Do you ever feel like life is slipping through your fingers? Like you're running on a treadmill, busy, exhausted, but somehow going nowhere? Maybe your relationship feels more like a routine than a connection. Or maybe it's the little things, the hours lost to scrolling, the projects you keep pushing to someday, the dreams you locked away long ago. The truth is, someday will never come. If you're not careful, years slip by unnoticed. And before you realize it, you're looking back at a life that feels wasted. So, what would it take for you to stop wasting your life? Jung saw life as a journey, not just in a metaphorical sense, but as a real psychological process of becoming the person you were always meant to be. And he believed that the people who feel truly whole in life aren't the ones who avoid struggle or make all the right choices. They're the ones who commit to truly knowing themselves, even the parts they'd rather not see. According to Jung, the biggest reason people feel stuck is that they're disconnected from themselves. They're living according to what society expects, what their families approve of, or what feels comfortable, rather than what actually resonates with their deepest self. Jung believed that true happiness, real, deep fulfillment, doesn't come from chasing success, accumulating wealth, or even finding love. It comes from alignment, from closing the gap between your inner self and the life you're living. Think of it like wearing clothes that never quite fit. They look fine, but they were never made for you. That's how most people live. And the only way to find the right fit is by facing the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, your fears, your insecurities, your hidden desires, your unfulfilled potential. Jung's entire philosophy was built around this idea that to find yourself, you have to be willing to confront the parts of you that you've buried. The problem is, most of us ignore these signals. We tell ourselves, now's not the right time. I'll figure it out later. I need to be practical. And before we know it, years have passed, and we're still in the same place, feeling the same dissatisfaction. That's why Jung's work is so powerful, because it teaches us that those feelings of restlessness and frustration aren't signs that something is wrong with you. They're signs that something deep inside you is trying to wake you up. And if you listen, if you start paying attention to the parts of you that you've been suppressing, you can begin the process of real transformation. You can start living in a way that actually feels right. Jung's ideas aren't just theories, they're a map, a way to find your way back to yourself before it's too late. There's a strange thing that happens when you waste your life. You don't always notice it. Not at first. It's not like there's some alarm that goes off, warning you that time is slipping through your fingers. Life just moves along, one day at a time, and you convince yourself that everything is fine. You're busy, you have responsibilities, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and yet, deep down, something feels off. Like you're missing something, but you can't quite put your finger on what it is. Most people assume that wasting your life looks dramatic, like completely giving up, making terrible decisions, or refusing to do anything meaningful. But the truth is, wasting your life is usually quiet. It happens in the small, seemingly harmless choices, the job you tolerate but never really wanted, the dreams you set aside for later, the passion projects you never start, the people you surround yourself with out of habit, not connection, the time you trade for distractions, convincing yourself that you'll get serious tomorrow, But here's the thing, it doesn't have to stay that way. Just because you've been drifting doesn't mean you can't wake up. Just because you've wasted time doesn't mean you have to waste more. The truth is, at any moment, you can decide to stop waiting. You can start making different choices, start reconnecting with the things that make you feel alive. It's not always easy. It requires effort, discomfort, and a willingness to face the fact that you've been avoiding your own potential. But it's possible. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes. Jung believed the answer had nothing to do with luck, success, or external achievements, but it had everything to do with self-discovery. Jung called this process individuation, and he believed it was the most important journey a person could take. Individuation is the process of integrating all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, the forgotten, the hidden, into a complete and authentic whole. It's about confronting the aspects of yourself that you've ignored, denied, or been too afraid to face. And the more you embrace all of who you are, the more your life starts to feel like it actually belongs to you. Jung believed that self-awareness is the first step toward transformation, because once you become aware of what's holding you back, whether it's fear, self-doubt, or external expectations, you can start to break free. You can finally stop living someone else's story and start authoring your own. And that, according to Jung, is the ultimate goal of life. Not to chase some arbitrary definition of success, not to fit into a mold that was never meant for you, but to become the most authentic version of yourself, to wake up every day and know deep in your bones that you are living a life that is yours. Most people will never take this journey. They will stay in the comfort of the familiar, even if it makes them miserable. But you don't have to be one of them. You have a choice. You can start now. You can begin the process of truly knowing yourself. And when you do, everything changes. Because when you finally align your life with who you really are, you don't just exist. You live. Have you ever had a strong reaction to someone and thought, I can't stand that person, but you couldn't quite explain why? Maybe it was their arrogance, their laziness, or the way they always seemed to need attention. Whatever it was, it irritated you on a deep level. But here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. What if the very thing that bothers you about them is actually a reflection of something hidden within you? That's not an easy idea to accept. It's much more comfortable to believe that certain traits just don't exist in us, that we would never be like that. But Carl Jung had a very different perspective. He believed that every single one of us has a hidden side, what he called the shadow. The shadow isn't just some abstract idea. It's the part of you that holds everything you've rejected, ignored, or suppressed about yourself. It's the traits, desires, and emotions that you've been taught are bad or unacceptable. And instead of facing them, you push them down, pretending they don't exist. Facing your shadow doesn't mean giving in to your worst impulses or indulging destructive behaviors. It means acknowledging that every part of you, the good and the bad, deserves to be understood. It means realizing that even your darkest traits, when properly integrated, can serve a purpose. That surge of irritation when someone cuts you off in traffic, that's your shadow. But it's also a clue pointing to unmet needs, buried emotions, or boundaries you've ignored. Jung once said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. In other words, true self-awareness doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It comes from understanding your flaws and integrating them in a way that makes you whole. Have you ever wondered why certain stories, myths, and legends seem to resonate with us on a level that's deeper than words? Why do tales of heroes overcoming impossible odds, of mentors guiding lost souls, and of villains consumed by their inner demons feel so universal? It's not just because they're entertaining. It's because they reflect something ancient, something ingrained in the human psyche, something Carl Jung called the collective unconscious. Jung believed that beneath our personal experiences and memories, there exists a deeper layer of the mind that is shared by all of humanity. It's a kind of psychological blueprint, a reservoir of symbols, themes, and narratives that we all instinctively understand, even if we've never encountered them before. Think about it. Why do different cultures, separated by time and geography, tell stories that follow the same patterns? Why do ancient myths from Greece, Egypt, India, and China all have similar themes of transformation, struggle, and redemption? Why do we see echoes of those same themes in modern movies, books, and even our own dreams? Because these stories aren't just made up, they come from us. They reflect the inner journeys we all go through, the battles, the fears, the desires, and the transformations that define what it means to be human. Take the idea of the hero's journey, for example. Harry Potter facing his fears, the structure is always the same. A character starts off in the ordinary world, is called to an adventure, faces trials, meets a mentor, confronts a great challenge, and ultimately transforms. Why does this story resonate with so many people, generation after generation? Because it mirrors our own journey through life. We all start in a place of comfort, but at some point, life throws a challenge our way. It could be a personal crisis, a major decision, or a deep internal struggle. We resist at first, we doubt ourselves, we fear failure, but then we meet people or experiences that guide us. Maybe it's a mentor, a book, or even just a realization that pushes us forward. And if we accept the challenge, if we face our fears and push through, we come out the other side, transformed, stronger, wiser, and more in tune with who we really are. Then there's the shadow archetype, which represents the darker, suppressed parts of ourselves. We see this in villains like Darth Vader or the Joker. The shadow is terrifying, but it's also fascinating, because deep down we recognize that we have a shadow too. We all have suppressed fears, hidden anger, or untamed desires lurking beneath the surface. And if there's one thing stories have always taught us, it's this. Every great journey begins with a choice. The choice to step forward, to face the unknown. The journey won't wait. The next chapter starts when you choose to turn the page. What if the reason you feel stuck isn't because you're lazy, but because you've been lied to about what matters? Carl Jung believed that real transformation isn't about adding more things to your life. It's about removing what's keeping you stuck. It's about cutting through the distractions, the limiting beliefs, and the unconscious patterns that have been controlling you. One of the best ways to become aware of these hidden patterns is to track your time. Take a few days to write down everything you do, every hour, every activity, even the time you spend scrolling, zoning out, or procrastinating. Once you've created awareness, the next step is to face what you've been avoiding, because the truth is, if you feel stuck in life, there's a reason. Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping outside your comfort zone. Maybe it's old wounds, past failures, disappointments, or criticisms that convinced you to stop trying. Or maybe it's just the weight of routine, the slow dulling of excitement that happens when you live the same day over and over again. From there, the next step is reconnecting with what actually makes you feel alive. When's the last time you felt truly excited about something? When's the last time you lost track of time because you were so engaged in what you were doing? Those moments are clues. They're pointing you toward what actually matters to you. Jung believed that the root of so much dissatisfaction comes from living a life that isn't authentic. to who we really are. So ask yourself, if no one else's opinion mattered, if there were no expectations, what kind of life would I want to create? That answer is where your power lies. How many times have you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do it when I have more time? It's such a comforting thought, isn't it? The idea that there will always be another day, another opportunity, another perfect moment waiting for us in the future. But here's the hard truth. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. The truth is, life doesn't slow down to give you time to figure things out. There will always be something, another distraction, another excuse, another reason to wait. But waiting is a trap. Because while you're waiting, your life is still happening. Every single day you are making a choice, either to move toward the life you want or to stay exactly where you are. Every hour is like sand slipping through your fingers. Once it's gone, it's never coming back. Carl Jung believed that much of our suffering comes from resisting the truth, avoiding the reality of our own choices, pretending we have infinite time when we don't. He warned against the dangers of drifting through life unconsciously, waiting for external forces to create change instead of taking responsibility for it ourselves. Because in the end, no one is going to save you. No one is going to hand you the perfect opportunity, the perfect conditions, the perfect motivation. That's something you have to create. Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." That quote stings, doesn't it? Because how many things have you said you'll do? How many dreams have you talked about but never acted on? Words mean nothing without action. Someday, you will run out of tomorrows. The question is, when that day comes, will you look back with pride, knowing you lived fully, or will you wish you had started sooner? The choice is yours, and the time is now. At the end of your life, when you look back, what do you want to see? A collection of days spent fulfilling someone else's expectations? A series of routines that felt safe but never truly excited you? Or do you want to see a life that was yours, one that felt real, that had depth, meaning, and purpose? A life where you didn't just exist but truly lived? People are drawn to authenticity. When they see you living your truth, it gives them permission to explore their own. This is how change happens, not just in your life, but in the world. But none of this happens unless you make a choice. The choice to stop waiting, the choice to stop hiding, the choice to step fully into your life as the person you were always meant to be. If you decide that you are no longer willing to live a half-life, that you are ready to step into the privilege of becoming who you truly are, then everything begins to shift. And one day, you'll wake up and realize that you are no longer just existing. You are alive. You are whole. Life's been whispering all along, "Is this it?" Now you finally answer, "No." This is where it begins. That is the privilege of a lifetime, and it's waiting for you. But only if you choose to claim it.